Oh
Look
my
at this
God.
angel. Michelle, look at this angel.
I know.
Sweet. My gosh, you guys are angels. I hope I'm not too worn out looking, but I'll do my best here.
You'll be in good company, I think.
Okay, stop, pause. We need to play Laura's message to us just 2 minutes ago about, I hope I'm okay. I hope I'm with this. And you just said, you were like, it's perfect, exactly how it's supposed to be. And now you're going, I hope I don't look too worn out. Like, you are perfectly perfect.
Oh, you're sweet.
Or perfectly imperfect, as I like to say about myself, because I am not perfect. I don't want to be perfect. I fail miserably most days, but I just pick myself up and try and dust myself down, or call someone and complain for a few minutes, and then everything is back to normal.
Well, your authenticity is true beauty in perfection. So, you are absolutely stunning. So, both of you.
Well, you know what? We are just reflections of you, Laura, and we're all reflections of each other. And I'm just, oh my God, I can't stop smiling. I feel like my face is going to fall off, or it's going to melt off. But it just, I am so happy. I'm so excited that we get to speak to Laura. It's just, wow. Like, what in the world is happening? Like, this is like a dream come true. I've wanted Michelle to meet you for so long. She knows pretty much everything about you. I mean, we're both a little bit obsessed. I'm obviously, Laura, obsessed with you as my friend. I'm a little bit obsessed. And, you know, I was thinking about this earlier on. It's so funny to me because I don't think that me and Laura have actually physically met in the physical. Have we? We have known each other in multiple lives, for sure. You are my sister. I've felt that since the minute that you and I connected. It doesn't even matter that I've not actually physically hugged you, held you, been in your presence, because I feel your presence. It's so weird. I feel your presence anyway, always. And when we communicate and we navigate with our communication the way we do and the way we talk to each other, it's like, oh, you know, hi friend. You know what I mean?
Totally. No, it's really special. I mean, it doesn't happen every day with people. And I totally feel it with you. This comfort, this sisterhood, this familiarity, and just this joy of like, oh my gosh, we get to see each other again.
I know.
Lifetime.
Hello again in this lifetime. Isn't that just so magical? But you know what's so wild, Laura, is this is exactly how it happened for me and Michelle. Like from the get-go.
Me too. Yes. And I'm going to carry this with me. It's really uplifting. It's totally uplifting. So I'm so grateful.
Amazing. I am so grateful that you're here too, Laura. Like Teddy said, she has shared about you, and we follow you on Instagram. And I'm going to be completely honest. I am actually like overwhelmed and maybe even a little intimidated to talk to you. And I'll tell you why. You sent that message and it was so kind and so from the heart and exactly what I needed to hear in that moment. So I'm not intimidated from the fact that I don't think you're a kind person or a wonderful person. I already know. I knew even before today, but I read through your bio and am just so impressed with what you've done, things that you're doing. And I don't even know what some of the things that you're doing mean. So I want to get to that a little bit today too. And, you know, hearing the two of you talk about, okay, we have known each other in other lives. That's something that I've maybe felt throughout my entire life, but never dug into, never tried to understand. And so like through this process, I'm trying to grow as a person too, and really kind of call out to the forefront some of these feelings that I've had my entire life, but have never been allowed to feel or question or anything. So before we even get started, I just wanted to preface it by being like, I am just humbled by your presence and you being here.
It's mutual, really. I feel a sort of nervous excitement, a little intimidation, because I care so much. It matters so much. You know, I want to be at my best, but I know it doesn't matter. We can just be ourselves. I love what you guys are doing. I'm so happy to get to know you, and I know that you guys have been collaborating, and I get to know you more. I mean, it's so mutual, and I just find it funny that we're all kind of feeling the same way, and your words comfort me.
I've got goosebumps just listening
No,
to you.
I know. I feel like this is like almost like a gush fest. I don't even know if that's a word, but at the same time, I'm here for it. So
well, shall we just let our audience pretty much just know who Laura is? She's a public speaker, author, self-described intuitive astrologer. However, I believe that this was always your path, always your destiny. I believe that God put you into this vessel so that we could enjoy, learn, nurture from you. There's the galactic historian, which I would love for people to learn about and not fear. Yeah. And if I'm allowed to say, is the great-granddaughter of former US President Dwight D. Eisenhower. Is that correct, Laura? Did I get that all kind of right?
Yes. Yes. And I love it. Yeah, it's just an incredible resonance, with that energy. I feel that with you, and now you, Michelle. So it's beautiful.
Yeah, and Michelle has so many angels around her, which is I've always seen with her, but I never had many female angels or female beings around me. It's predominantly been like a male energy. I've always felt like I've had brothers around me, which is hilarious. And then obviously Mary Magdalene being that, I feel like I found my female, or I'm finding my female beings in this worldly form versus the astro world form. But I have my ancestors who are obviously women. I have women ancestors, and I have grandmothers and females on the other side, past the veil right now. But it's predominantly been male angels that have surrounded me. Archangel Michael was also one that I had coming in. And I also have another angel that was assigned to me at birth. But I always forget his name, and I will tell you about that another time. So I don't want to get all too weird on people, but yeah, I'm going to be quiet because I think I'm just like so overwhelmed by Laura just saying yes to us and for us to have this platform in order to like just share her, because I think without wanting to make you feel uncomfortable, I think you are brilliant. I think you are so pure. You're so honest. You're so kind. And I've seen it since day one. And you're like a safety blanket. You're like a blanket for me. And it's why one of the reasons I did this, and I wanted to do this with Michelle, was because I was so sick of being told to stop being too much, be quiet, sit still, go in the corner. There's something wrong with you. You're too much. Stop talking. Like, just knowing that there are other people or beings out in the world living in human vessels at this point that are the same as me or the same as us, and that there is nothing to be scared of, and that the world is waking up so rapidly now that we have a duty, we have a mission that needs us to get these messages out to the masses, but doing it with love and integrity, and no bullying, no shaming, not telling anyone that they're crazy or that there's something wrong, because those words have been my story and my experience my whole entire life. But giving this platform for people like you that have literally saved my life.
Oh my gosh.
Multiple times.
Wow.
Truly.
Wow. Oh.
Multiple times.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't want anyone ever from this moment forward to feel the way I felt my entire life. And if that means bringing incredible people together like you and Michelle and us getting these people in and out how we have to and get it out to the masses. And you know what's going to happen? We're going to have people going, you're crazy, you're this, you're that. Bring it on. At this point in my life cycle, I really do not care what anyone thinks of me, because when people come to me and say, wow, you look this way or you look that way, or what are you doing with yourself, or what is, I give them the protocol, and then they're too damn lazy to actually do anything about it, but I still love them anyway. And that's my point, I think. I'm going to stop talking.
Love it. Thank you so much for sharing. Oh my gosh. It just means so much to me. I take your words so much to my heart and soul. Wow. I'm glad that my presence or my work has had that impact, because we're so much alike. That's how it was for me growing up. I was always too much. My mom kept sending me away, like, oh, what do we do with her? I couldn't sit still in class, or I had these other ideas coming in, and it's just like, oh, I won most out of touch with reality for my senior class, and now you're getting interviewed for this stuff that you were kind of talking about in high school and stuff. People actually listen to you. I'm like, well, yeah, there's a lot of us out there that, we get these other ideas, and we're free thinkers, and things come through that we're not getting from textbooks or anywhere else but our own hearts and souls. And it's not crazy. It's what needs to happen. And I think it's inside of everybody. And there isn't a whole lot of permission because of the labels and the stigmas or the early conditioning. And even if they're not ready for it yet, they'll get there in themselves, because it's not about sameness. It's like, what is your truth? And I think a lot of people live close to it, but they're still very dependent on the inverted matrix and the reward system and the validations that come with it. And to explore anything outside of that, there's like a frequency fence that's like, you can't. So if we're holding the frequency on the other side of that fence, it feels, like it dismantles a lot of, I don't want to say programs to undermine anybody, but, limited belief systems, I think, because we're so much more than we can imagine. And we reach into that, and we explore that, and everybody has it as a thing. So
that's a beautiful point. Sorry, Michelle. Let me just say really quickly. It's a beautiful point that you just made, Laura, because it is absolutely inside of every single human that comes into these human bodies. We all have the same ability. It's just that we're dumbed down, numbed down, medicated, told to be quiet. So every single time that attack has happened, you're becoming less and less and less than, or you're becoming programmed or manipulated. And then of course you don't think that you're anything different, and that we are special and we are different and all of those things. Carry on, Michelle. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
That's great. And it actually, what you just said kind of flows into what I wanted to ask. I want to know, what is the inverted matrix? Because I don't actually know what that is. But before you answer that question, I just want to say, in hearing you speak, I was also that bouncing off the walls and had this idea, and I want to do that. And, just high concept at a young age, and sit down, be quiet, stop jumping, all of those things. And I think, then self-conditioned to, instead of being free and kind of letting that fly, I self-conditioned through many different, where I grew up, how I grew up, circumstances, to keep it in. Do not talk about it. And so you talk about the inverted matrix, and it sounds maybe like that's like, did I succumb to that? Like, what is that? Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, well, I think we all do to varying degrees. I mean, I remember when I was internalizing things, it felt really painful, and it made me more insecure and more doubtful of myself. I didn't feel comfortable. Instead of being free to be myself, and other people like enjoying that and having that come out of them as well. And that happened a lot at summer camp, or it happened when I was, like off doing something outside of, the institutions, and where I feel like we're relating more on a soul level. And it was infectious. And if somebody was holding that and I was feeling withdrawn, I would feel like, oh, good. They're acting in a more, place of, inward freedom. And I think we all succumb to it to a certain degree, but I felt when I started to become public, and it was that breaking point of, I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to be myself, whatever anybody thinks, even though I'm sensitive sometimes and it's hard to hear, some of the feedback. It was life or death. I'm like, I can't live like this anymore. I'm bursting. I know this is what I came for. This has to be shared, because it involves all of us about, how the system has been. Most pillars of society have been infiltrated. A lot of the programs that are streaming through are very vampiric, and parasitic. And so the inversion is that we look outside of ourselves when there's a problem. We don't realize that the problem is an opportunity. It actually is a chance for us to get closer to ourselves. When we're depressed, when we're angry, why would we want to go on antidepressants? Why would we want to project onto ourselves that something's wrong with us? We just might not know how to direct it in a way that is beneficial. But if we get to know it, then we can, because our depression is really a signal to what is our soul longing for? Where do our waters need to be released? Where is it growing stagnant? Where is it accumulating toxicity? Can we release it? Can we cry? Can we allow ourselves? Do we tell the clouds, shut up, don't cry? Well, we wouldn't have any rain. We wouldn't be able to nourish the seeds of our dreams. And fire, it's explosive. It's our life force. If we take it out on one another, we have unresolved wounds and traumas. But if we can look at that and unleash that and unlock that, then we can be more capable of directing that fire to action, to purpose, to inspiration, to what we're really passionate about. And we're elemental beings. We want to get in touch with that. And we're in a system that says, shut it up, medicate it, silence it. And we walk around with disease, mental illness, emotional issues. And we think something's wrong with us when actually something's wrong with the system that is convincing us that there's something wrong with us. And I think that's the path to healing, is to be like, okay, I'm going to get to know myself in the face of adversity and disease instead of lose myself to somebody else's version of what that means. And that's where I feel like we lose our soul connection. And it's very frightening to let go of that, because it's so installed in, our conditioning, and it's passed down generation to generation. So when we break that, we're breaking it for our ancestors, we're breaking it for generations, our future generations, our children, and they're breaking it for us too, coming in. We need to guide them to be the fullness of all that they are. And we break that for, whoever in our family line still carry it. And that is, whatever genetic damage has a root and a belief system behind it. And that's what epigenetics is all about. Like, how is our mind talking to our body? If it's a programming, our body's going to get sick. But if we get to know it and break through it, then all of a sudden we're connected to the creative imagination and our higher self. And when we integrate that, we begin to upgrade, we begin to blossom, we begin to thrive in a way that isn't like false light or, the quick fix. It requires the dark night of the soul and to go deep into that darkness, but it's sustainable in the long run than, the one that, is just temporary, that can drain us actually of the true light that wants to be set free.
It's like a beautiful,
I feel like it just
explanation. Yeah, exactly. You're absolutely right. Like, that was such a beautiful explanation, and I think something that it's possible, maybe now more than ever, this world is ready to hear and ready to actually do something with what you just said. Do you feel like we're more ready than we have been?
Yeah. I mean, it's a process. Yeah. And we need to hold hands together. We're all going to have our dark days. I don't think you just arrive and then it's done. I think it's a maintenance thing, like every day. I might have an awareness, but it doesn't mean it sustains me all the time. I go into dark night of the soul a lot still, but I don't look at it as a place that is threatening. I've learned to embrace it, like that there's a time for it, and it's not taken care of. We can't just call into work. I'm having dark night of the soul. I'm going into the underworld for a little while. Can I take?
Yeah.
It's like you have to be really sick, but the sickness is emerging because you didn't take time to process, you didn't take time to release, you didn't take time to look at certain things. So we don't have a whole lot of permission for that. It's just like work, succeed, do this, make money, and we miss out on the importance of like going deep. And it's a darkness that's where our fertility lies. It's where our deeper treasures lie. It's where, the soul and the soil, receives seeds of inspiration to blossom. I mean, I know that's all just so metaphorical, but the maiden mother crone, the way the seasons operate, it's all about being in touch with that, our light, our dark, the integration of polarity that helps us move on from duality. And we need time to reflect. So I find that when I go into that space, if I've ignored the need to go into it, it's maybe a little bit heavier and darker. It's just like if you neglect, cleaning the dishes after you cook a meal, it's not going to be great when you want to cook the next one. It's like, oh, there's rats, there's ants, there's so it's a maintenance thing, I feel. And if we embrace it, then, we keep regenerating, we keep bouncing back, we keep up with the flow so we can create the next vision, we can create the next inspiration, instead of having a lot of junk accumulate because we're not releasing ourselves from where we might have had empathic overload, where we might have absorbed a lot of frequency manipulation and modulations, where we might have allowed a lot of triggers to be buried within ourselves, and we don't have meaningful dialogues, maybe with our partners or friends. When something comes up, it's a quick argument, and then, just like get on with life. It's just time to go deeper. And I think people are ready because it feels good. And it's like connecting with you guys. I feel like I'm with my soul sisters. I feel like, like it's such a breath of fresh air. And I feel like that's what we're really longing for. And it's a part of all of us. And it's coming out, and it's coming out. And the thing is, if we don't allow it, our body is going to get sicker. We're going to get more indoctrinated. We're going to get further away from ourselves. And I think the ramifications of that are so much stronger than ever, of what that actually looks like. And I think the soul is crying out, like, we deserve better. Sort of like true love when you're in a narcissistic or abusive relationship. Do you really want to believe, the projections coming from that person, or where your self-worth is lacking in wanting to keep up a relationship that isn't sustainable because it's not soul-centered? It's like life, we deserve true love. And that's why we want to break up with the inverted matrix and cut the cords, because we really deserve to be connected with cosmic and natural law, to experience nature in its fullest, and all the medicines, and the sound healing, and the people that are in resonance with us, and to let go of what isn't, but not negate it or abandon it either. But it's like, you're welcome when you're ready. And until then, there has to be a boundary. And when you're ready, it's not to adopt my truth. It's when you're ready to just connect on a deeper level that allows us to, share with mutual love and respect and patience and humility and compassion, and with you, understanding, and both of you, just the angelic realms. I mean, it's not judgmental. True source is unconditional love. It's not judgment. It's not persecution and punishment. It helps us to self-correct. It sees us, in a light of complete and total forgiveness and compassion, and that unconditional love is something that we can be for one another. That's how God intervenes, I feel.
So beautiful. My God.
I know I ramble, but thank you.
No, you don't ramble at all. Every single word that you say, Laura, I resonate on it in such a deep and knowing and understanding way. I know that none of that English was even good, but it just it was the best I had in that moment. It just, everything just feels so real and so true and so right and warm, and I don't want, why would I want to be in that other feeling, the uncomfortable, the slaving, the work space that makes me feel miserable, being uncomfortable, and not surrounding myself with beautiful humans, and it doesn't make sense why someone would just want to be right versus being happy, or being the best version of themselves that they can be, not just for themselves, but for the people that they're surrounding themselves with. And people go, oh, what's this about? Why are you doing this? And why are you doing that? But how about, does it matter? Like, why are we using the word why? Like, that should be removed from the dictionary. Mm-hmm. How about just let people be, and stop trying to categorize and put people into boxes and making them little ticks or statistics when you're filling out a form? That's a system in itself. It's just, it's a program. to me, I don't understand why people don't see it. And I've had to be very, very patient my whole entire life. And then, 2020 came and I was like, oh, yay. Now people are going to start to wake up, but I have to be quiet. I have to still be quiet and let people come to me. And I'm telling you, during the pandemic, people would say, something's going on. You know what's going on. Tell me what's going on. And I was like, oh, well, I don't really know, but I'm here when you're ready and we can talk. And then I would see the types of people that were coming. I kind of also knew that these people would come, but my permission from my growing up and my understanding was that I am only allowed to plant seeds. I'm only allowed to water. I'm only allowed to nurture. I'm only allowed to love unconditionally. I'm not allowed to tell anyone anything until they ask me questions. And even then, I still have to be very, very careful in what I share. And I get permission, but I get specific permission. And I'm sure, Laura, you get the same as well. Like I get certain things like, nope, they're not ready.
Yeah.
But they're still here, but they're not ready. Nope.
Yep.
And that to me is very wild. Especially with Michelle, like when I first met Michelle, I was like, oh yeah, you got myself a good friend. I'm like, yeah. But there's certain things that people are not ready for, but you know what I mean? And it's just, I will never want to cause any kind of bodily harm or anything to anyone, any kind of dis-ease or uncomfortable feelings. And people will be ready when they're ready. I just had a young girl come to me the other day and said to me, I just had a spiritual awakening and you're the only person I know that I would even want to come to with this, because I know that you will not call me crazy. And this is the world we're living in right now. Like, we're living in a world where I know that there's hundreds of people out there going, what's going on? Something's going on. Am I crazy? Do I need to go to the doctors? Doctors are going to medicate them, tell them that they're, all of the things. But there are still a few little brave souls that are coming up, which is why we have to do this, that are like, something's weird with me. I don't know what's going on. Can you help me? Yes, I can. I can listen. I can be a space. I can hold space for you, and let you vent and let you vomit your whatever it is that you need to get out, but hold space and not be just hold space, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Rather than try and put my thing on and my experience and I can share my experience, but that might not necessarily be the experience that they have had or are having, and they might not even be at that point yet. There's still so many things that we need to break down that has been a system that has been programmed to make people believe certain things. Like, both of you know that I'm working very closely with this whole food nonsense. And it's still like, even Drew said it to me the other day, but Gatorade was fine. Like when I was drinking Gatorade, I said, honey, Gatorade, I think back then only had 3 ingredients. But now it's like a laundry list of things I can't even speak. I don't even know how to pronounce it.
And the tap water and
I know. And then that's when you could get them overloaded and overwhelmed too quickly. And that's my biggest fear, but is one of the reasons I wanted to bring on people like Laura and, all of our other incredible guests and our chefs and all the things that we're doing, is so that people can understand that it's everyone in different walks of life are experiencing these unusual, quote unquote, unusual things that they're confused about. And the minute that narrative comes to them, they think, oh my God, like what? So that's put me in the crazy narrative now. And that's scary. That's really scary.
I know. I mean, look what they were doing to the, doctors that were calling this stuff out. They were completely, if you did any interview with them, at least on YouTube, that's what my channels got shut down. All my main channels, medical disinformation, even though they were coming from doctors. And there were other reasons too for the banning, and I tried to be really careful. And the thing is, it's like we were born into captivity, generation after generation. We were born like behind the cage in a zoo. It's not our natural habitat, but you grow so accustomed to it that if somebody opens up the zoo cage and says, go back to your natural habitat, it's like, oh, I don't know how to do that. It's like scary. And we can only live it. We can only enjoy it and be a resource for, how to you like emerge. But it takes a bit of acclimating. It takes a little bit of, care and patience. And that's why you can't really force it, because you might not be prepared for your natural habitat right away, and your body might revolt. It's sort of like having a healing crisis when you detox too quick. All of a sudden, the withdrawal is could harm you just as much as the toxin. So, and I love the way you put all that, but I think we're getting used to now, wow, we have natural habitat, our true genetic, our true divine blueprint, our true genetic code is comfortable in this. This is a familiarity that we're reclaiming. It's not about adopting a belief system, right? And it's not crazy to want to return to your natural habitat, because you don't have to do it anybody else's way. But there's a door that's opening, and you open that door for people, both of you, in this show, holding a platform, and it invites people. It doesn't push people. And that's what I love about what you just shared. And I'm very careful too, planting seeds. It's like, woo, we're over here, and it feels so much better. It's not always easy. But yeah, that I just it's kind of thought of that image. But and if you think about it, generation after generation, being on that kind of food, it's not your true food. You're on a cement floor. You might have, little like reenactment of the nature that your true essence would have existed in if you weren't locked up. But it's people don't realize the enslavement agendas. They think that the system cares about us, and that if you step outside of those boundaries, you're crazy and it's woo woo and it's dangerous, because the zookeepers don't want us to be set free.
Well, that's the point. If we wake up fully to what has been, their system is going to collapse, and they know that's the thing. It's already collapsed, by the way, just so everybody knows. We're already collapsed, and we're getting back on track, which is back to people like Laura, who has been speaking the truth since birth, since she could speak. And we're not crazy, we're awake. And I don't want this to happen to anyone anymore. And I truly believe that why we're doing all of this and why we're all coming together now in this absolute moment is because the shift is happening, and it's happening so dramatically and so rapidly and so fast, actually. Like, someone said to me the other day, actually, Dr. Lance was with Dr. Lance in Florida last week, and he said it's unstoppable now. It's the domino effect. We cannot stop it. It's either you wake up or you get left behind.
Yeah.
And the problem that I've got right now, and the thing that scares me the most is, and I'm going to just say the word, is the suicide element, because I understand, Laura, as you had mentioned before, I knew right from the get-go what you meant by that. But there's been multiple times in my life where I'm just like, well, okay, well, maybe I'm just not supposed to be here, because this is too hard. This is too hard for me to not be able to share and be my truth. It's just too hard.
Yeah.
And I feel like right now we are in such a poignant time that if we are not careful and we don't love and nurture and love anyway, whether you're kicking and screaming and yelling at me and just say, let me hold you, we are going to lose a lot of people. But I think that's part of what has to happen in this whole thing, because people have been doing this for generations. And actually, I don't know whether the statistics actually came out, but the statistics in Australia during the pandemic, the death rate was higher from suicide than it ever was from COVID because they shut the country down so quickly. So when you look at those numbers, you think, why have we got a generation of people just saying, I'm just going to check out because this is too hard? We have to ask why. And nobody wants to ask why. And it's because people don't want to carry on because we are labeled different or crazy or a conspiracy theorist or a problem. Well, you bet your bottom dollar I'm going to be a problem now, because I cannot witness and watch children want to not be in this world anymore because of the things that mum and dad have said, or I have to do this, or I have to do that, I have to take this medication. We've seen the numbers with the autism going up and the ADHD and all of these crazy things is because of this whole thing, the broken system. There's nothing wrong with these kids until they give them the medication or
Exactly.
they pump them through with these Gatorade drinks that are full of red dye and stuff. It's all there in the science is proven it. Even Dr. Callie and Cassie Means spoke about it the other day. They were saying, we've looked at all of these ingredients and there is nothing else that we can say is the reason why the kids are getting sicker and the kids are, unwell and mentally unwell. There's no other evidence. And they were traditional MD doctors. They're like, we've up royally. We've been giving the wrong medication. We've been giving the wrong advice. No one is prescribing exercise, mental health days, like just being allowed to be in nature and all of those things. It's just everything is, oh, here, take a pill because it makes us money, and then you're going to be programmed, and then bye-bye, you're going to be gone. Because if you wake up in this lifetime, you're going to realize that we lied to you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. Yeah. Michelle.
Yeah, I just am thinking of all of this, and
is your brain about to explode?
No, for me, this is, you are speaking to me. I feel like, when you talk about, I think a lot of our listeners have been oppressed from oppressing, all of that oppressive environments and things like that, or having worked or are currently working in corporations in America, which, there's a point to some of them maybe aren't so great, and are hearing this and are having those feelings, maybe of depression or maybe of, having a mental health crisis, or maybe not. Maybe they're just like, I am really starting to have my eyes open, but they don't know where to start. How do they start? What would be your message to people who are like, I am seeing this for the first time and I'm hearing what you're saying. I don't know what to do though. What do you do?
Yeah. Oh, I just love what you both have just shared. And it's so powerful what you're sharing too, about just the suicide and not wanting to be here anymore because it's too hard. And what these medications do, because the side effects are just as bad as the reason you would take the medication. I'm surprised when I go to hotel rooms and I just look like, what's going on at the TV? And like, what are they broadcasting? Wow, the commercials are still there. Like, it's nuts. Sometimes I feel like inspired when I go to an airport. I'm like, oh, they have organic snacks or they have other options. This is nice. Well, I think what a person needs to do is you got to put integrity above everything. If it's just about a paycheck and you're going to spread something to your students, to your patients, to your clients that doesn't feel right, you're spreading this virus, the mind virus, the programming virus, because it's not enough to just blast us with bioweapons and toxins in our food. You need to buy into the social engineering as well to keep you in a frequency match with the toxicity. If you begin to break that, you have that override frequency. You can alchemize, you can transform, you can dissolve, you can spiritualize your body so that it removes the foreign substances that aren't a frequency match to, the spirit and the soul dwelling, in the body in a very soul-centered way. It's amazing how rapidly we can heal. So don't fear it. If you made decisions that you regret, think of all the drug addicts that have overcome. Think of all the people that in the secret space programs or the MK Ultra that have overcome. We are so resilient. We are so powerful. It's just our willingness to, look at all that on every level, because it might not be as extreme as these cases, but society, the social engineering, the fear tactics, and how it hooks you in to thinking that there's no other way. Don't be afraid, because when you step into your purpose, the synchronicities light up. I can't imagine, or I can't count how many jobs I've left, how many relationships I left where I didn't have any money at all, like maybe $5 to my name. I hit the road. I had no idea. And I could say to myself, this is a failure. I'm lost. I have no direction. Who am I? And I would only attract more to reinforce that. All I could see were things that reinforced that belief. But when I felt like this is an empty canvas I can create from, I'm abundant, I'm free, I'm honoring my discernment, I'm honoring my intuition, I'm honoring my higher self, I'm honoring the fact that I don't want to work for a company or a person or any institution that would mean that I would infect other people or exploit them or take advantage. I just can't do it. So if I pat myself on the back and I see my heart and my soul and my reasoning behind it, then I can create and be creative. And when I found that mindset in myself, I would attract synchronicities and divine flow. I'd meet the right people. I'd find, things that supported my greater purpose and mission, and it all kind of regenerated. And when I left like the DC area, I went right into the wilderness, and that's really where I learned, how energy works. If you're in a sort of victim mentality, or you're just, and I saw this with other people, what they attracted, was really in their face, like right away. If you see people not, communing, with nature and honoring it, but just being reckless or eating other people's rations or leaving a mess behind or throwing stones at snakes and just being reckless, they would end up with accident and injury. Not to say if you have accident and injury, it's like, something negative, but it's an opportunity to correct and to get more into alignment. And so I've just learned a lot, and I reflected a lot about, just what I learned there. And when you're in a different, energetic, it's like the dolphins would just laugh and swim with you and just surround you, and the birds, the spirit medicine coming in. And I remember one time I wrote in a poem, hummingbirds waking me up in the morning, the breeze from their wings cools the soul fire burning, because this, hummingbird would wake me up, and there was like magic. But if you're in a lower frequency, you're just tired. You don't have the energy. Everybody's pissing you off. You're a victim to the storms and to the terrain, and you're not in harmony. And I just noticed, the inner work it took to shift into a frequency that allowed for miracles and magic. And I incorporated that into my life and everything I, do. And sometimes we just need to take the time to reflect on that perception plays such a huge role in the way we manifest and create. So don't be afraid to leave that job. Don't be afraid to stay at a friend's house. Don't be afraid to get an Airbnb, save some money. I mean, I moved my kids around so much. We lived out of vehicles, and it was scary, and I was all alone, and I didn't have a partner I could really count on. And I would just cry, and I'd be at my knees, just like, please, but when I was in a victim mentality about it, it didn't get any better. When I found my inner strength, when I found, a greater connection with spirit, and when I just saw the beauty of the challenge, and that, I could rise above and help others through these challenges, and knowing there's ways to shift it in our favor versus get further and deeper into the hole. Yeah, that's why I dedicated my work to this. I said, if I can get through this, please let me be in service and help others. I can't do it for them, but I can hold their hand, and I can give them a reminder in their darkest of hours that we are stronger than we realize. And we can tap into those inner treasures that have been locked away, that we're here to reclaim. And sometimes the challenges we face in life is for that purpose, is to find that within. So
it's funny. I think that every single time where there's been a moment in my life where I've just been like, I cannot do this. I'm so scared. What is the next right thing to do? And it's always worked out. It's always worked out. And mostly because I've just had faith, and I've just said, it's going to be okay. Just put one foot in front of the other. It's going to be okay. You were not put here to suffer, and it's just going to be okay. And even though it's been so freaking painful, it was always okay. I look back now, just as Laura was saying, I'm looking back now and I'm thinking, yeah, I was in a car with my daughter sleeping. That's wild. But I was okay. I got through it. Not many people know that. In fact, there's not many people that know that at all. I don't think anyone knows that. I just shared that. But I was like, oh my God, I did that. But I'm okay. And I survived, because we did not get put here to not have a life beyond our wildest dreams. And I think that that's what's happening to people. People are like, hell no, I don't want to work for someone else. I want to be abundant and I want to be free. And the minute that you allow abundance into your life, and let's forget about paper money, which everyone is so freaking obsessed with right now. Actually, Russell spoke about it yesterday. He was saying the minute we let go of this obsession with paper money and paper abundance, the abundance will flow. The spiritual abundance will flow. And that's just, to me, it was like, oh my God. I actually texted him. I was like, I say that all the time. Did I tell you that?
Those are the virtues and qualities that you take with you wherever you go. And that's what you also shared and spread to people, even if it was telepathically when you were there, you know? And I think we have to change the system from the inside out as well. And we either stay and do that, or we walk through that doorway and we move on to something else. But, you know, it's all a part of it. It's all a part of it.
I watched on the plane the other day, I tried to start watching this movie called Wicked, because I don't own a TV. I don't watch TV. I never watch TV because my dad told me it would rot my brain as a little child. So that's why we didn't have TV. I tried to watch Wicked the other day, and then what you just shared was so is it metaphorical when you see something that, so there's the Wizard of Oz. There's this big face of this man, like a robotic face, and he's all like raw, but then like behind the curtain there's this man who was Jeff Goldblum, I think. But anyhow, so to me what you just said was like the Wizard of Oz. There's this big front of who you think this thing is, but then behind the curtain was just this little old man, you know. And that just came through as you said that. I was like, oh my God, that's literally like this thing that I just watched, the Wizard of Oz. So that was wild. But yeah, anyway, sorry.
Yeah. No, I love it. I know it's crazy. You know, this kind of facade, you know, theater, you know, social engineering, false flags, engineered events, artificial timelines that are taking us down a trajectory of further enslavement that people are consenting to. And it's like, yeah, and part of the awakening is, wait, we deserve more. Like, we're powerfully creative. We're the powers that be. They stole the power. They're the powers that stole. We're the ones with the real power. We're the ones with, you know, this vast creative imagination that has just been infected with all these, you know, different belief systems and just games being played to, you know, hook us in and then divide and conquer us and pit us against each other. And yeah. And then that's why I always look at it like a breakup with a narcissistic, deceiving, manipulative partner, because our true divine template is all about alchemical union, alchemical marriage, hierogamic union, that Christ Sophia, the Magdalene Yeshua, the Shiva Shakti, you know, just this is in our genetic code. And so when we break down, you know, these programs, we realize we're breaking down the Anunnaki manipulation, where the planetary grid network was put in reversal so that we would digress as humans. I mean, it's not just us being programmed, it's they messed with the planetary grid network. So we're born into it, and through osmosis, we pick up on, you know, this imbalance and duality that we, you know, we're breaking down. So it's a lot more than we can imagine. So we have to cut ourselves a lot of slack. And to me, that altered genetic code is just an overlay. It's like the society is like the foster parents that never told us about our true parents and that have kept us in the dark. And they act as our gods or the authority that we should be following, when there's something behind it, that other curtain where true source lies. Because behind the curtain and facades of the theater, you know, these aren't our true parents, but behind them is true source, and that's in our genetic code. So we've got this. We've absolutely got this. And it's not something you have to figure out. It's something that you reveal and unfold from within. And when you get there, you're going to have a lot more soul-centered connections like we have.
Yeah, that's it. And I think that's why this is happening, is because it's unstoppable now. People are finding each other. That there was this thing that I used to think, I need to find the others. I kept hearing it when I would eventually go to sleep, because I struggled my whole life with insomnia. Like, I think I shared with you, Michelle, that I got expelled from 3 kindergartens because I would not go to do the nap time. I was like, what? Are you joking? Nap time in the middle of the day? There's a sunshine. There's outside garden. Like, why are we not outside and running around until we get home at 5 p.m. or whatever it is? And then we go straight to sleep. I just couldn't do it. I was so active.
You never know, talking to you with just the light you hold, but you've gone through it, right? And I mean, it's amazing. I bet us 3 would have had a blast in kindergarten, because I was like so much the same. And
my gosh,
in high school too, and it was always these projections of learning disabilities, or always in detention, or can you imagine if guidance counselors were they don't pick up on the deeper mission? Can you imagine if we had 3rd period galactic history class, or your starseed mission, or like you said, if you couldn't sit still, you could go outside and there would be a place for you to just, and it's just not designed that way. And so that's what I see the future being. And that's what the future
I totally agree. I see that. And it was always the world that I saw was happening. I didn't know when it was going to happen. And I kept being told, be patient. They're coming. It's happening. It's changing. Hold on tight. There's nothing wrong with you. But then, when I would say that to my parents, or to my mum in particular, that, well, they tell me that it's going to be okay and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, who are you talking to? Do you know what I mean? Dad never questioned anything, because Dad was also like that. I had a very, very special father, and I feel very, very blessed. But yeah, I think that we're at this stage now in our evolution as human beings where it cannot be stopped. We discussed this domino effect. It's going to be tough for a lot of people. And I think that, as Michelle was saying, we need to have something in place, little bites, little nuggets that we can give to people, that we can share to people, and say, you're not alone. First of all, you're not alone. Second of all, you're not crazy. It's okay. You just have to love and nurture yourself to the best of your ability. Now, that's not being lazy and taking a vacation and doing all of that. We know innately as human beings, because of the gut instinct, the solar plexus, whether we're doing what we need to do for our divine purpose and for our best result. We also know when we're being little pieces of shit and being lazy, or doing things that we know are not going to be good for us, right? So it's having that understanding of both things. What is our truth, and what is the thing that's going to distract us to get to that truth? Because I think I'm always thrown things to distract me, to get me off my purpose, and even more so now than I've ever experienced in my life, because they know that people are waking up, and they know that I can help people wake up even further with love, unconditional love and kindness. And I think that that's what they're trying to stop, is us waking up and being this collective unity of just a love bucket. You know what I mean? Which is divine source. People say to me all the time, what do you do? What is it who do you work for? I'm like, it's God. It's God. Well, I mean, I don't know what else you want to call it. You can call it the universe. You can call it Buddha, spirit, whatever you want. But for me, I am a mission worker. I work for God. That's it, period. And a lot of people find that really hard to hear. What do you do for work? I work for God. They're like, I'm sorry, what did you say?
That's so incredible. Love
But
it.
that's what I've literally been saying to people recently. I am a mission worker. And however you want to unpack that word of God that is freaking you out right now, if you want to just turn it around and say dog, then that's who I work for. I work for the dogs. I work for the animals. But it's there's a light in you, Teddy. What is it? I'm like, you are seeing God. That's what it is. You're just seeing, I'm reflecting back to you what you know is within you, but you're too scared to say, I have these feelings, I've seen that, or whatever it is. I'm just reflecting back to you, or I'm triggering you into something else, you know. I feel like I'm going off on a tangent, which is what happens when I get so excited when I'm in presence of people that are not going to judge me. But yeah, I'll stop talking for a second.
So beautiful. No, that's it though. I mean, that's who we should be working for, because it's us. It's your higher self. It's that direct connect that you answer to, that guides you. And in that you help people to release themselves from, this system. And it's so beautiful. I feel the same. I mean, that's just who I answer to. And I don't know how to do anything else. And even though it's not always easy, because like you said, it is ramping up. It is getting worse. Some of the attacks I've been experiencing are worse than ever. The derailment I've been feeling, the energy drain from it all. But yeah, I just know that they're losing their grip. They're in their final death throes. They're doing everything they possibly can. And it's really revealing people's true colors too, because there's people that are retaliating and attacking and being really, really nasty, that are conduits of these archons or lower forces, that aren't ready, but they're not just not ready in a respectful way. Some are, but some aren't. And they're really acting up and acting out. And they're not really serving God. They're serving a lot of negative ego, a lot of the narratives that they've been conditioned to spread. They might be under some kind of altar, or just sort of a fragment of their being that hasn't integrated fully into their source light and their soul. But yeah, it's just, as tough as it is, it's a good sign, right? People sometimes give up, but they have to realize the psychic attack increases when you begin to move on from that and take it as a twisted compliment, instead of what am I doing wrong, or why isn't it look like this, like it's all supposed to be all love and light and like levitating while you're meditating. It's not like that. It's messy. We're in a war on consciousness. We have to win the war within ourselves, and in this great work that we're doing to win that war within ourselves, we're still being thrown a lot of weapons. And but the thing is, we are that override frequency that dismantles the dark weaponry when we lift ourselves beyond the turbulence, and we don't get attached to the way it makes us feel or take it too personally. We can acknowledge it, but we can forgive it. We can alchemize it within our own being. And then I feel we become senior to these archonic lower forces, and then they lose their grip. And and all we're trying to do is to bring as many with us as possible. And it's not in a way that people might perceive, because we all have this in common. I don't feel like I have all the answers. What I feel like, I have is a certain level of transparency that I hope people will feel, permission to find within themselves. There's nothing to be afraid of. There's no shame in this awakening process of what you thought you knew, that you realize you didn't really know, but within that truth exists, and it's immortal and it's infinite within yourself. It's just a part of this construct that you might have bought into, but it shouldn't invalidate you. It should just be, something you can kiss goodbye and thank it for the time it might have had in your life, but it doesn't serve you anymore. You're only getting closer to your own, your own home. It's a reunion, and we're all sharing in this joy of this reunion. And I think people think conspiracy theory, I have to believe something, I have to buy into something, but it's not. We're just pointing out the red flags that are now bonfires. It's like, if you're dating somebody and you see that person cheating or stealing your money, and that's all we're pointing out is, look, you're being betrayed. We just want to warn you, there's a sinkhole we don't want you to fall into. But sometimes the soul needs that trauma imprint to grow and have a life review and maybe figure it out the next time around. And sometimes, it has to happen that way for it to really sink in, and that's okay.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah. So can you share, again, just trying to learn here, but what are some examples of some of those attacks that I'm probably going to use the wrong terminology, but kind of those lower forces? Like, what are some of those attacks that we may experience? Is it an illness? Is it a relationship? What are ways that they're trying to derail us?
I think it comes in many forms. Sometimes when you're with somebody that hasn't or doesn't really want to do, the inner work or be on a conscious healing path with you, and they're not looking at their own kind of wounds, they can be, conduits of dark forces. I mean, sometimes you can be friends with somebody or in a partnership with somebody and they turn like 180 and they all of a sudden attack you. You open your heart and soul up to them and all of a sudden they're dangerous to be around. When you look at all the crime stories out there, and I kind of binge watch a lot of true crime. I don't really watch TV, but I watch true stories.
Me
or like,
too.
yeah. And I'm just like, gosh, like there's 15 seasons of this and there's like multiple, docu-series on this. This is not just like news stories, that you hear randomly. This is like an epidemic of people that are doing horrific things that have been programmed to do that have not been given the right space to like move through family patterns, family trauma, ancestral patterns, abusive situations in their childhood. And like we were talking about, medication or going to jail where they treat you like an animal. There's ways to rehabilitate. If you can turn a perfectly benevolent person into an assassin through mind control, you can undo, the damage of a lot of the programmings that we've adopted in our society, and undo all of that. How can we help rehabilitate those souls? So I think sometimes, there's voice to skull technologies and people all of a sudden are weaponized and they attack you and they're specifically put in your life. Cause I've had a lot of plants put in my life to derail me and trip me up. And it wasn't like, oh, I'm just going to like make that up just to make excuses for the shit storms in my life. But it actually was validated because I thought like, it's me, it's my karma. Like, what am I doing wrong? And then I dug a little bit deeper. And of course there was some of that of where I needed to correct. But there was also like, okay, there's dark weaponry on you. You're being targeted. I've been targeted, quite a bit. And we all are to a certain degree when we're on this, kind of path. Some of it comes through censorship, from being banned. Some of it comes from people, colleagues in this field that will, attack you or smear you or reject you if you question them, that want you to either adopt their narrative or you're gone. And I just don't operate like that. It's like, I don't have a narrative. I don't have an agenda. I feel everybody has a truth and it is valuable. And we can all work together to make sure that we're coming from our most sacred place of authenticity and help each other let go of where we might have been programmed or led astray. And we all have a way to, assist one another in this. And there's no perfection like we were talking about earlier, but to me, the authenticity is where the perfection lies and how we can all support one another. So I feel it also comes through our devices, cyberbullying. I've had stalkers and cyberbullies, and people that have come after me, creating fake accounts, fake fan pages, that have written, my followers or friends. I don't consider them followers, my allies, my friends, my compadres in life, and written them personally, saying like horrific things. And how far do I want to go? Am I one to sue? Am I one to engage in those battles? That's not really for me. I don't think anything's wrong with it because I'm all about justice. But I just delete. I just move on. And people either see me or they don't. And if they don't, it's okay. I know truth doesn't need believers or followers. It stands on its own. And as long as I'm in service to that, service to God, service to Mother Earth and humanity, I know my heart's in the right place. And if people misunderstand that and get caught up in those distortions, I'm still here and I'm still doing what I do. And I'm okay with that. I wish it wasn't there, but and I hope, that those that are running those narratives, can begin to drop that. And those that have been blackmailed and manipulated to play the role that they do, that they're not afraid to come forward and say, I'm afraid of these tactics that have been used to cause me to be this person. And we have to have forgiveness and understand what they've been up against in every industry. So, and I think that'll help them to be de-weaponized humans that have been coerced, and starting in childhood too. And we need to have a greater understanding so that we can help them to come back to source.
Beautiful. And thank you for answering that. I think that that is just hugely helpful for, like I said, people who are trying to learn or trying to break free or trying to make that decision of I'm listening to myself instead of what I've been taught or what I've been told. So thank you. That's great.
I hope it's all coming out good. Thank you, though.
It's coming
It is
out
coming out great.
exactly. It's coming out exactly how it's supposed to, and people will get what they need. And I always urge people, just take what you need and leave the rest. Take what resonates with you in your heart, in your body, in your mind, in your spirit, and just leave whatever doesn't resonate. Just leave that aside.
I know.
It's okay. It's okay. And then, maybe next year or the year after or whenever, something is going to come back. What you've just done there, Laura, is plant seeds.
Yes.
And when people are ready, they're going to be ready. That's the thing that I've always said to people is I am not going to force anyone to believe what I believe. It's my truth. No one's going to take my truth away from me because it's my truth. And if you're not on that page of understanding that that's my, I'm trying to think of the word in English. It's my right as a human being in this body, or the soul in a human being in this moment, to have that thought process, whether you believe it or not, or if it doesn't resonate with you or it does resonate, it doesn't matter.
The reason that you don't judge is because you're solid and you have compassion and you understand the games being played and how it plays on their good intent, and you hold love, unconditional love. And, and that's the difference that I find is if you're really not comfortable with what you're doing, you're not comfortable with people that aren't doing it. But if you're comfortable in the choices that you made, you don't judge other people. And you have that understanding that is the medicine that they're going to find, because that's what's going to de-weaponize the weapon and the mind control. And they will be able to heal from it. They will be able to overcome it the minute, they set themselves free. And there's a way to sort of accommodate both too. I mean, my father was in the hospital with leukemia, pneumonia, 3 different kinds of pneumonia in his lungs. He had a huge leg infection. He got the more than once. But he began to deprogram from it. He began to take nutrition. He began to listen to me because he was literally going to die any moment. And then he began to unwind from it. And now he's home again and he's thriving. No matter how far down that road you get, you can unwind from it the minute, you're able to see, is that really getting you anywhere? You sometimes the ramification, you have to hit rock bottom before you unwind. And even though there's going to be a lot of casualties, not in an infinite way, their soul is going to get it. Everything returns to source, no matter how far away from that you get. You can always unwind from it. So an 84-year-old man, literally on his deathbed, put into hospice, is now thriving because he began to unwind from it. Yeah. And he listened, and then he's like, okay, I guess Laura's not that crazy. And like, okay, I'll have dandelion root, and he was just like, dandelion root, what is all that?
I've been praying for him as well.
I know. Ever since I've known, same. Yeah.
And it's
without knowing the details.
The power of prayer. When we don't have the judgment and we pray for one another, that was a huge reason he recovered. And I told him that, and he got it from the community. When we hold that space for one another, and you being a major space holder, you're a prayer in action. You see their greater potential. You're not judging them. And when we allow people to open up the box lids to emerge from, and we're not keeping them in their box, like, oh, you're just a sheeple or you just don't get it. And we allow, that doorway to open, and we believe in that, we're praying for them, and then they can safely emerge without, feeling that judgment cast on them. Why would we want to do that?
It's just comforting to know. Sorry, Teddy.
No, go ahead.
It's comforting to know that you can change course. It's comforting. It's comforting in hearing what you said, that you aren't bound by maybe the sins of your past, so to speak, or actions of your past, that you can change. You can decide today, right now, to change, and everything will flow with you. That's so comforting to me. It's so comforting to hear that and to know that you can decide, you can make the difference, you can make the change, and the universe can reward you. God can reward you. Whatever your higher being is can reward you and start you on a new path.
And you know what, too? And then the doctors see that. they see the anomaly. That's not possible. How's that possible? We gave you like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
How is that possible? And then they see there is a greater power. There are miracles. This isn't just a random thing. We all are capable of creating miracles. We're all capable of regenerating. We're all capable of more than we can imagine. And then when they see that and they witness that, there's no denying it. And maybe they'll
Yeah.
begin to integrate the holistic medicine, the alternative
It's that
approaches,
seed.
without being like stuck in the, because they're really well intentioned, they're really gifted, and they're really good at what they do, but they might incorporate that piece now because they saw it firsthand. So it's this exchange, like they offered him a service and they helped him in a lot of ways, but he helped them by seeing that they're not limited to a diagnosis or a predicted trajectory that is in a textbook. There's something greater operating here. And this is for all the children that you work with too, and what they say to you and what they learn from you. And, you bless people everywhere you go, just both of you. And that's what we all can do. And it's not the society that needs to reward us. We're blessing each other. And that's where the true rewards come, I feel.
Wow.
You learn from each other. Like,
of course we learn from, and whatever we receive and the information that's given to us, I believe, I really do believe I take what resonates with me in my body, in my heart and my soul. And that's my truth. And that it has to be, I don't know what I'm trying to even say, but I believe that God will speak through people when you need to hear it. I think God will show up in a way that you will never understand. You're like, how did that, like the other day, this is so cool. I don't want people to be scared because a society has told them that they're crazy. I want them to have a place, which is the wellness. That's why we called it that. It's the nest. You're coming home to yourself. And then we've dropped in little nuggets that have made that nest, Laura being one of them, Michelle being another, this is the safe place. This is your safe place where you can come home to at any time, day or night. You've got us, and you've got all these incredible guests. I think that we should speak of how people can get in touch with Laura.
Yes.
So maybe we can link all of those things as well. And Laura, maybe you'd like to share where they could find you. That would be awesome.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So my website's cosmicgaia.org, and I'm going to update it with some of the events that I have going on. I'm trying to rebuild my channel so you can find my social media accounts, my new YouTube, and my Telegram. And just putting out a documentary that the Cousins brothers and my friend Paula Asteria put together. And it's called Nexus to Disclosure. And I'll be doing an event in Isle of Wight with David Icke. May.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm so excited about that.
With David Icke?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. A New Living Expo in San Rafael, California. I'll try and update my website with all that. But I do readings. I do astrology readings. And I kind of look a little bit deeper than just the planetary aspects, understanding, some of the dark technologies being used and dark Saturn and also the laws of alchemy and how these things are being dissolved. Like it's not going to be as hard as it used to be. We just have to really just find our center and realize the planetary alignments and where we are currently in the greater landscape of just where this earth is at. It's not going to be as hard. And like we were talking about, the deep state is crumbling, which means the programmings are crumbling. And as that, dies, you don't have to die with it. You're going to be reborn, and the charts can really help you to see where you're at with that. So I do astro readings you can find on my website, and I have a subscription thing, and I do Zoom calls to just gather together and share and talk about where we're at and do mini readings with people. So cosmicgaia.org, and my book's Awakening the Truth Frequency. And it's a lot about what we talked about, living your truth, taking what resonates and leaving the rest. All the research I've done in some of my life journey, and a lot about our ancient history and galactic history is in there. And really geared towards what our junk DNA really is, which isn't junk, the true treasure that it is, and how we're getting more and more in touch with it every day. And what validates this is the fact that the sun started to move through the 13th sign of Fiacus, which is ruled by the ether, which is turning the inversions upright again, which allows this energy to flow into our cells, into our very being, to clear this toxicity. And when we do that and align with it, the earth responds to us. And then we realize that all these dark weapons don't have any power over us anymore. And we begin to recognize a much more beautiful future that we are co-creating. So anyway, I really appreciate you guys having me. I can't wait to have you on. And it's so great. It's so familiar. And I appreciate you guys so much and all that you do, and the beautiful light that you hold and the wisdom and truth that you live. So thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Yeah, thank you. And go ahead. Yeah, I just, kind of as a closing question, one of the things that I think when people see who we are having on as a guest, they're going to recognize that last name, having such a strong last name. I am here in Colorado, and we've got the Eisenhower Tunnel. So I think of that legacy every time I go out to ski or out to the mountains. But I just wanted to add, what is it like being the great-granddaughter of President Eisenhower? Or do you feel pressure or even the freedom of being part of that lineage?
Well, I was really familiar with his spirit coming in when I was a child. And I found out a lot more about, my connection with him before coming in. There was a really strong agreement with him. He warned us about the military-industrial complex. And there was a lot in his final speech that I always, thought about, and so much has been uncovered. I've discovered so much about really what took place in his administration that isn't out there, about what happened in 1952 under Truman, this unconditional surrender agreement to the the ICC, Interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate, Draco Nazi Alliance. And that's kind of a big mouthful for people, like, what does that mean? But, and this is where we see a lot of the control mechanisms that are still in place, that are still infiltrating our power structures, that are being cleaned right now and cleansed. Many swamps are being drained all over the place. So it's been, really wonderful. I know that I've taken on a different path than my other family members. I've kind of gone into deeper rabbit holes and into just really levels of information that is really like heavy, and there's been a lot of targeting because of that. But I've always felt his presence. He had a strong relationship with Valthor, and Valthor helped him to appeal to the Guardians. So the Guardian groups, I'm told I came in from, and I feel that resonance with you guys. And it's something that we all carry. It's in our genetic code. So we're all coming in from there. But some are a little bit more asleep and disconnected from it than others. But this is really what we're awakening to, is the founder groups, how that links into, the cosmic trinity and source energy. And so I feel we have a powerful collaboration. I feel his guidance. I feel his presence. And that I'm here to reveal what he couldn't reveal. And a lot of it is to be a knowledgeable and aware citizenry, like he said in his final speech, that it's not about the government structure. It's about all of us, and to believe in ourselves, to believe that we're the leaders, we're the ones that are rising, and that we are here to show the way. And the governments have to answer to that, not the other way around. And no matter how much that system has to be dismantled, it will be, but it has to come from us, not consenting anymore, not being oblivious to the dark agendas, this military industrial complex, which is multi-leveled, goes into secret space programs, goes into underground bases and things that are hard to, kind of swallow. But the most important thing is we recognize it. And when we recognize it, we're no longer bound to it. We're no longer allowing something to control us through what we're unconscious to. So he's been an incredible guide, and he's really for the people. And I just feel like, this greater like family, like I might be related to him, but it's like we're all related to each other. There's a global family going on. So I feel a kinship with him. I feel a kinship with, so many, and we're like a soul group. And really that soul group energy is expanding. And what does that mean? That we're with the world soul. We're with this greater purpose of recognizing, our need to come together to activate one another. And that's being in service to this this greater purpose and to humanity. And in that, we're all together in this. We're a team. And anybody who's not ready for it, they're part of that team. They're just reflecting, the world that we're, waking up from. And it's a beautiful thing. So yeah, it's been amazing. The family, my mom, lived in the White House. She had the Secret Service men. We had a very, very different life. So I lived a very kind of normal life, a very challenging life. And it's not quite what people might think of a presidential family, but very down to earth. He grew up on a farm. He was a farm boy, and he wasn't willing to be a puppet or a pawn, and had to do things covertly to begin to create the Earth Alliance and the White Hats and do all these things that we're going to find out more about. That is a baton that's been passed down from all those that have ever been in service. So again, like I said, we're a team, and we're all when we serve the light, we step into that field, and he's just one of many. And you guys are major in all of this and what you do. And this is what I love. He wasn't about, the hierarchy or the platform or the pedestal. He saw that in the people, and is just an advocate for that emerging within all, like I am and you guys are.
That's so cool. So cool.
Yeah. And I just love that you still feel that presence, and, you really resonate with, that last speech and all the things that he stood for, that, over the course of, from, I think he was, president from maybe the early 50s to the early 60s. Is that right? Is that right?
Yeah. So 53, and then he served 8 years. So
yes. Okay. So what he started and how it's kind of changed, evolved, maybe gotten hidden or buried, and then reframed, all of that, just, it's all kind of coming back to the surface. And to be a relative of his and to feel that and to be able to kind of take on his charge, what an amazing thing. How great for him and for you to have that legacy.
Oh, well, thank you so much. There's been a lot of false narratives and a lot of, things that I'm like, well, maybe that is true. I'm not here to be biased. I'm here for truth. And if that's the case, it's got to be exposed so we can heal and recover. And then I found out a lot more that really resonated. I'm like, that's it. That's where it's at. And so, yeah, I've been doing my best to bring it forward. But yeah, it definitely comes with a lot of banning and censorship. And it also reveals, that it's inside of us, this level of warfare, the spiritual warfare. Everything we talked about in this interview, the war on consciousness, the war on our children, the dumbing down, and we're the greatest news that can come from all this, because we can win the war within ourselves. We can transmute, alchemize, and heal from this. And when we do weaponize ourselves, we stand in that victory, and that vibration invites other people to do the same. And it's become quite the war. We didn't really win Second World War, but we are winning the war now. And it's important to understand, history's been rewritten, and to undo that is to claim the true memories, because we can't really heal in our adult lives if we have false memories of our childhood. So we have to get through that rewritten history to begin to heal as a collective. We don't have to go down every rabbit hole to do it, but we at least need to understand enough of it to be able to reflect on something more true to the healing, process, so that we're not reflecting on lies, because how can we heal from that if it's not the truth? And again, I don't have all the answers. So I like I said, like you guys said, take what resonates and leave the rest. I want to be a part of this greater conversation with the information that people have unlocked and discovered. And let's put it all out on the table and have fun with it instead of attacking people for it.
Absolutely. Yes. And just be open and take, like you said, take what you want and leave the rest, but be open. And I think that's the biggest message that we have for people, is to just to be open always.
Yeah. You guys,
I'm still learning so much about my father, and he's been gone now for 13 years or 14 years. And it's just remarkable, the things I'm learning about him, and, the Secret Service, CIA, FBI, like, it's just like, but I always knew there was something about my dad. Like, I always knew, He was my superhero. He always was there for me when I needed him. He was there at every dance recital, did my hair, did my makeup. Like, he was my manager. He was everything to me, my dad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And
so
I
cool.
think, I really think that he was preparing me for his ascension, and preparing me for my ascension in this world as well, and my life in this world, and how I can be of service to others, and to not be afraid, and to stand up. And it wasn't until he left his physical body that I realized actually what he was doing. And my relationship with my father now is so profound and so comical and so jovial and so childlike and so like it was when I was a kid, that it's just, I of course I miss him. I love my dad. Like, my dad was my best friend. Of course I miss him, but all I'm missing is his physical vessel, but I see him in so many people and so many things. And I get my signs and all of those things, just all of those incredible stories that I heard of and I knew about that I didn't really understand, to learn them now, and that my father was part of that, but was a brilliant man because he could keep a secret and protect his family and, you know, do what he had to do for this world that he loved so much, is really quite remarkable that he was that man, you know?
Oh yeah.
It's cool.
So
and I know it's why I met you, Laura. I know, you know, like the 11/11 thing, just all of everything that has come into my life as I'm getting older, or should I say, what would be the right word to be? Evolving as a human, let's say it that way. It's so exciting for me. It feels so like fuzzy and warm, and it's just, I'm so grateful. I'm so blessed. And I'm just, thank you, Laura, for giving us time. Like, time is so precious, and that you've honored us and gifted us and our audience with your time, your knowledge, and you're holding space, not just for me and Michelle, but for everybody that tunes in. It's just really, wow, we are so blessed.
Yes,
well, I'm so blessed.
you.
It's an incredible platform. Both of you are just such beautiful kindred spirits. I'm so filled up. I feel so uplifted. Sorry about my background, everybody. But yes, I've had just such an amazing time. I just can't wait to just stay in touch, and so grateful we're on this journey together. This has meant so much for me. You guys held such incredible space for me, and you do for everyone. And I'm just in awe and appreciation. So thank you.
Please come back. Will you come back?
Definitely.
Okay, sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.